Apologies. I was watching another live actually, and then I lost track of time. Then my phone had died, and so I was like, let me charge it. And so here we are. It is 11 o'clock. So I won't stay on too late because it already is late. Usually I like to get on my lives around 8 or 9 o'clock. I feel like a baby, I have to burp myself. But yeah, sorry. How is everybody today? Come on in, come on in. Let me know how you're feeling. I know it's kind of late, and it's a Tuesday, so you might be asleep, you might be in bed. I don't know. I usually don't come on this late, so I'll give it a little minute. See if anybody comes and joins me. I was watching a previous live about the full moon energy and some of the things we talked about yesterday. And they were talking about the different astrology signs and what to expect. Now, I'm a Gemini, but I missed the one about Gemini, so I have to go back and watch that one. But yeah, I'm not sure if you all did the ritual that we talked about yesterday about the water and what to do with the moon water, because yesterday was a full moon. So if you don't know, we have 2 days on the front, 2 days on the back. Yesterday was a full moon, so we have like one more day, and then the portal will close. So we shall see. We shall see what's in store for us for 2025. So does anybody have any plans or any types of things that you're wanting to happen in 2025? Is everybody feeling that momentum and that push to really kind of do something out of your comfort zone? Are you feeling that shift, that vibrational shift that, hey, some things are changing, some things are really happening, and so the time is now to kind of get out of your own way and kind of do some things that you haven't done before? Are you feeling that? Hi, how are you? Are you feeling that need to? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Are you feeling that need to kind of get out of your comfort zone? Are you feeling that need to do something different these days, right? Because for some reason, like this year has already started off with a bang, right? It's so much going on. And I don't know about you, but I've been feeling that momentum, feeling that shift of it's time to do something different. It's time to kind of get out of your comfort zone, kind of do something different, because like we've been doing the same thing all this time, but it's like something's missing. Something is missing. Now it's time to really just kind of embrace that new energy, right? That new year energy, and like let's just do something different. Let's see what happens if we just step outside that comfort zone, even if just a little bit, right? Exactly. So, do you have any goals, or are you looking to do anything this year that maybe you hadn't done before? Maybe you're trying to do something a little different, or hello, Melissa. Thank you. Is it? I can't pronounce that, and I don't want to mess it up. Bupen. I'm just gonna call you B. Your friend. Am I your friend? I'm not sure what you're saying. So, for me this year, I am definitely trying to. Thank you. I am really stepping out of my comfort zone somewhat. Been in the I've been in the communication speaking for a very long time. Communication. I went to school for broadcast journalism back in 2000. I think I graduated in 2009, so it's been a while. And then I used to DJ. I worked at a church and I would do their printing. I did a couple years in podcasting. I worked for PBS for a little while. I went on tour with Tyler Perry. I do concerts and events, so I'm always in the public eye. I'm always doing something around communication. I'm always doing something with people. And so, me talking to you on live, even though I don't necessarily love lives, but sometimes they make me a little nervous, but I do know that the more you do something, the easier it gets, the better you get at communication, and communication is so important. Oh, Chiefs, my condolences. Wow, my condolences. Mm-mm-mm. Grandmas are very special. Very, very special. I know that hurts. Ooh. Mm-mm-mm. My condolences. I have a viral video of my grandmother. Hmm. Sheesh. 89. Oh my goodness. She had a good life though. She had a good life. That's a blessed life. 89 is a blessed life. Mm-mm-mm. Wow. What are you saying, BD? I'm not sure. Mm. So, I've been in the communication space for a very long time. And what I can tell you is that people are very interesting. But I love being around people. Oh, thank you, Chiefs. Thank you, Chiefs. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, my condolences, because I know that's tough. I'm sending you, I would give you a whole heart, but I'm holding my phone, so I gotta give you a half of heart, but I'm sending you prayers. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. So, communication is very important because it allows you to talk with other people and it allows you to get your message across. Now, one thing that most people do not realize is that most communication, even though I'm talking to you right now, most communication is actually through our body language. 95% of our communication is nonverbal. So, what is that? That's hand gestures, that's eye movements, that's facial expressions, that's body movements, that's all the things that we're saying but we're not saying. So, that is what we mean by communication. So, most of it's nonverbal, most of it's not even the things that I'm projecting and saying to you, but it's what you're seeing and what you're feeling. And that is most of our communication. That's why when we do text messaging, like it's kind of hard to understand what somebody's saying because you don't know what it means, right? Like when somebody sends you an email, and because emails are just so cold sometimes, you're like, well, what do they mean by that? And then you can instantly get upset, you can instantly get mad when you see a text message or see your email because you don't know the emotion behind it, right? So like when somebody says, okay, so you want to get something to eat, and they say, okay, it's like, okay, is that okay? Yes. Is that okay? No. Like, what does that mean? Is that okay? Like you already ate already? What is that? What does that okay mean? Right? Because there's so many different ways that you can process that okay. So communication is important because that is how we talk with each other, right? And it's those ways that if you don't communicate effectively, you can make or break a relationship, right? You can make or break your friendship. You can make or break friends and family, right? Just the wrong communication, the wrong by and it could be that you could both be saying the same thing, but just in the delivery and what you said, it came across as a completely different thing than what you wanted it to be. So you always have to be mindful of that. Communication is very, very important. And it's also important because how we interact with each other and also how we make money has a lot to do with our communication, right? Like if I say to you, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you don't necessarily like love your job, and he's like, well, I don't even like this job anymore. Well, how much do they pay you? Well, they pay me this amount. Well, did you communicate that you wanted more money? Well, I said something, Well, what did you say? Well, I wrote them a letter. Well, when did you write it? Well, I wrote it one time 2 years ago. Okay, well, maybe you should do another one, right? Like, communication is one of those things where you really have to be mindful of what you're saying, mindful of what you're doing, and the way that you project yourself to others and how well it is received. Because communication is one of those things that we just can't get around, right? Because if I don't communicate to you effectively and in the way that you want to communicate to me, then it doesn't serve us a purpose. And so most times men and women, we have that tendency to misalign in that regard. So let me read some of these comments. BP is all in these comments, I see. So, anybody have any questions? I know I'm late. I normally don't hop on this late. Usually I'm early, but I had some other things to tend to, and my phone died, and so I decided to charge it, and then I realized how late it was. I was like, oh man, it's kind of late. So I think I'm gonna. I didn't quite have a topic for tonight. I know I had a topic yesterday about the full moon and stuff like that, but I don't really have a topic for tonight per se. So I thought I would just do questions and answers. So if you have a question to ask me, I mainly deal with marketing. I am in communication. So if you don't know me, my name is Aysia. I am a project manager. I specialize in marketing and consulting. I went to school for communication. I have done project management. I've done all facets of communication. I've DJ'd. I've done podcasting. I have I've worked for PBS, which is a television station for like educational TV. I used to do directing at church. I love, love, love directing. And so later on in life, I do know that I will be a movie director. I can feel it because been a long time passion of mine. I've done a lot of things in communication. I toured with Tyler Perry for his plays back when he was doing plays. I've done print. I've done a lot of stuff. I do email marketing, so a lot of stuff around communication, getting the message out there. And I currently do concerts and events. Right about now, I do more like Southern Soul, R&B concerts, events, comedy shows, things like that. So I'm always in with people and marketing and events, and making sure that the customer and the client experience is a good one. Making sure that I am talking with the customers, because if you have a good conversation with the customer and you ask them questions and you relate and you have that conversation with them, then you get to understand what it is that they like and what it is that they are wanting to see more of. Most times people like to think that it's money related if there's a problem with the customer and stuff like that. Generally, it's not that. Generally, if you have a problem with the customer, it's something simple that you can probably fix. It really doesn't have to necessarily deal with money. It's not necessarily always money related. Sometimes it's just something simple. Like, I had a client one time who was complaining about the chairs, and he said, I paid all this money and these hard chairs. He's like, why are these chairs so hard? And so when we got off the phone and I thought about it, and I was like, chairs? I was like, that's all he wants. He wants a comfortable seat. And I was like, he should have a comfortable seat. Because in VIP, you want that experience, right? You pay the money to sit up front. You want to have a good experience and you want to be comfortable. And so all we did was change the chairs, right? They had, I can't remember, we probably had like the regular, like folding chairs, I guess. At that event, we changed them to the other folding chairs with a cushion, and then he was fine. And now he is one of my best customers. He's like one of the first people to purchase the package or anything that we have pertaining to any customer or client or event that we have. So that's why I like to tell people client retention and customer experience is very important, because if you take care of the customer will take care of you, and they will continue to buy your products and your services over and over again. If you're consistent in your offer and you're consistent in your delivery and you meet their needs, they will continue to buy again and again and again. So if you're finding that you're getting a lot of fluctuation, that simply means that you haven't asked the right questions to see what it is they're actually looking for. Because your clients and your customers will always let you know. And you have to continue to ask them. So one thing I like to do is I'm always surveying them. And when I say I'm surveying them, and it could be anywhere from one question to like 10, but I will tell you that most times I don't like to do anything over 10, because then it becomes a chore, right? Most people don't mind answering a survey as long as it's short. I got a survey today and someone said it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes. And I was like, ugh, 15 to 20 minutes. And then also, if you give somebody a survey, Hazy, and also if you give somebody a survey, when you give them a survey, you also need to make sure that you want to give them an incentive. And what do I mean by that? Like, you want to give them something like, hey, if you do this, you can get this. Either like a chance to win a prize, a gift card, something, right? People don't mind giving surveys, but if you're gonna ask somebody to give a survey that's 15 to 20 minutes, they're gonna want something in return, because that's 15 or 20 minutes of their time for your information. So they're so what they're asking of you requires something in return. And so if they're just giving it freely, then your numbers are going to be a lot lower, because they're not getting anything in return. So if you want something and you're not going to give them anything in return, then it needs to be a shorter survey. It needs to be at the most 10 questions. It doesn't need to be any longer than that. And so the survey that I received today said 15 to 20 minutes. And like the first 3 or 4 questions, I was fine. I was like, okay, this. And then we got to the 5th question, and it was like 4 or 5 different questions on one page. And each question had like 5 or 6 things that you had to answer. And I immediately looked at it and I immediately got overwhelmed. I was like, oh, that looks like a lot. And I stopped right there. And I was probably only 15% into the survey, and I stopped right there, and I was like, I'll get it, I'll come back to it later, because I immediately got annoyed. Now, had they broken those questions up into like different, on different pages, that would have been one thing, because one question had 6 answers, and then you tried to put 4 things on one page, so it was like 20 questions essentially in one. And that was just too overwhelming for my brain. I was like, See, I'm like, at first I was going to do the survey, and then I was like, ugh, that looks like a chore. And then I stopped. So my advice is, if you're ever having a survey, if you're ever trying to do a survey, make sure you're going to break it down into either 10 questions or less than 10. And my advice is, if you're going to do a long survey and you have a lot of questions that you want to ask them, it does not have to be all in the same survey. People don't mind taking surveys, and it's not that they don't mind it, but it can't be that it's so time consuming that they feel like that it's a waste of time, right? It's not a waste of time for you because you made the survey, but it's a waste of time for them because they feel like they've drowned in your survey because you made it too long. It's like when you're watching something and people take forever to get to the ending. Like, just get to the good part, right? Like, if you're looking at a reveal or like a baby, like a gender reveal, or you're watching something where somebody, they're saying, okay, hey, wait to get to this part, and then we're gonna announce the winner, but they wait 30 minutes to announce the winner. It's like, oh, just get to the part already, right? So it's the same thing with the survey. It doesn't need to be extremely long. If you want them to answer the questions, then have them answer the questions. But it needs to be something short, something simple, something concise, so they can get in and get out. Surveys don't have to be very long. Hi, awesome. And it doesn't have to be long because a lot of the questions that you ask can really be condensed into a very few questions. And so some of the questions that you may encounter on a survey is like, age, how old are you, and that, age, like address, email, those kind of questions. Those can be at the very end, but those only can be if you're giving them something in return. Then you can ask those questions, like, hey, what's your email address, what's your name, because otherwise a survey should really be, it shouldn't even have a name to it, because you're just getting the data. However, if you're getting something where you want them to win something, of course, then you need their name, then you need their information. Like on the last survey we did, we did we gave away a pair of VIP tickets. And then one survey we did recently, well, like a couple months ago, we did a cruise. And so they won a cruise. And so the cruise is actually coming up in a couple weeks. I think they go January 30th through, I want to say February 3rd. So it's coming up on their cruise. So, the lady who won, she's really excited. So, but when you have a survey, it needs to be very short, like 10 or less. So some of the questions, of course, outside of the general, name, age, and stuff, but some of the questions that we may ask is, it depends on what you're looking for, right? So if your survey is about your customer experience, then how well was my service, rated 1 through 10. How well was your experience? Um, were you greeted at the door? Did so and so talk to you? Did we resolve your issue? Those are like the customer service questions, like if you have a like technical support or stuff like that. Then we have the surveys where you may have a potential sponsor. And what I mean by sponsor, so what I mean as sponsor is somebody who is wanting to give you money for your audience. So if you have, let's say you have an event coming up, and the you want somebody to pay for your, let's say like your gift bags, right? So let's say you have an event coming up and you want somebody to pay for your gift bags. Well, the people who pay for your gift bags, they're going to want to know, well, who is your audience? Because if I'm giving you gift bags and I'm putting the stuff in the gift bags, then I want to know who your audience is. So that way I know exactly what to put in the gift bags that I know that they'll like. And because if I put something nice in their gift bags and they like them, then potentially they can become my audience and they can become my clients and they can become my customers. So that's really what sponsorship is. Sponsorship is them giving you something on behalf of your customers, your clients, because they really want to do business with your clients. It's almost like I help you out so that I can share with your audience, because most of the times people are multidimensional, right? People like multiple things, right? Like I may like to go to the movies, right? But because I like to go to the movies, that probably means I also like TV, right? Because I like TV and movies, I probably like to go out to eat, right? So these are things that your sponsors are going to be looking for. How can we cross promote? How can we work together so that I can get the same audience that you get, and vice versa. So your sponsors may have certain questions, like if you're looking for, let's say, like I was talking about movies, right? So let's say you're doing an event and you're hosting a movie, right? So you may be looking for a sponsor. So what kind of sponsors would go great with, if I'm showing a movie? Maybe I need a popcorn sponsor, right? Because people like snacks, right? Some kind of snack, some type of candy, some type of maybe a drink, right? So maybe even like a cup holder or something that the drink can go in. So maybe koozies. So maybe I'm looking for a sponsor that can provide the koozies for the drinks to go in. Maybe I need an ice sponsor because I'm doing ice, like whatever the case is, right? Because everybody can use ice. So if I get an ice sponsor, and they provide, the bags, and then in the bag it has, a koozie, and it has something, even though it may not be ice because ice melts, but they may have the koozie, and the koozie may say the name of their company on it. The bag may say the name of their company on it. They may have pins in there. They may have a notepad in there or something. Like, so you can take, maybe, write down your favorite quote that's in the movie. So, there are always different ways to think about how to get sponsorships and how to get somebody to, um, join you in those efforts, so that way you're not necessarily paying for all these costs, and it helps you offset the cost, but you're also sharing your audience. And it also helps you to get more sponsors, because after your event, you'll ask the sponsor how they felt about it, and they said, hey, we felt great about it, we enjoyed it, and then possibly you get them again, right? Maybe you sign a multi-deal with them, with the sponsor, to get them to come back and sponsor another event. Maybe your events are maybe once a month. Maybe you do a movie night once a month. I went to an event sometime last year where they had a movie night. They did it at sundown. It was like maybe like 6 o'clock p.m. or something, where they were actually at the, oh my gosh, okay, I'm drawing a blank. They were oh my gosh, what do you call it? Like parking garages. And they, excuse me, they would take the top of the parking garage and they would turn it into like a little outdoor theater. So they had speakers set up around the parking garage. And so because parking garages go up, at the very top, they would have us. We could take our chairs and put our we would have to bring our like lawn chairs and stuff, and then because it goes in an incline, once it inclined, like right where the stairwell was, that's where they put the screen, so that everybody was kind of like leveled up, and you're looking down at the screen. And so I thought that was really cool. And so all you would have to pay for on the way out, because you didn't pay on the way in. On the way out, you paid for the parking garage. So I was like, well, that's a neat idea. So every so often, they do that. Like I think it was only for the summer when it's like warm outside though. But every once a month, they would set up the projector, the movie, and they would have their drinks or their food out there if you wanted to purchase it. But you could bring your own snacks or whatever, and you could sit out there with your lawn chair and watch the movie out in the parking garage. So you were at the top of the parking garage, but you could kind of look around and see the scenery around you, which was kind of cool. The light, the sun was going down, it was setting, so that was a nice scenery. And if in fact it rained, then they would just do it further down in the parking garage. Like they would either do the first floor or they would do it lower on in the parking garage, so that you wouldn't get wet. So I thought that was a really neat idea. And it's a way to have people kind of come out and have a good time, but also they're able to kind of see the scenery, see the sights. And it was a good way to have like community involvement, like a community engagement that was low cost, but it was also kind of fun because it was something different and something I hadn't done before. So I was like, oh, well, that's an interesting way to get people to come to your event, right? So maybe that could have been a sponsorship, right? I provide the movie, somebody else provides the location, somebody else has the snacks, right? Like, it's a collaboration and everybody can work together, right? So, and that's also a good way to, you survey your people and you ask them, hey, what do you like? Do you like indoor events? Do you like outdoor events? How often do you go out? When you go out, what do you do? Do you go to the movies? Do you go out to eat? Are you going to a festival, right? These are the questions that you ask your audience so that you know whether or not the things that you're wanting to do for them, if it's something that they're interested in. So, yeah. So, do you have any questions? About the 30-minute mark, it's getting kind of late, so I'm going to wrap it up. But if you have any questions, let me know. My name is Aysia. I am a project manager. I specialize in marketing and consulting for large concerts and events. I tend to do concerts around Southern Soul, R&B, and so that's kind of my area of expertise. I do public speaking. I talk about wellness as well. So yeah. So if you have any questions about surveying, about sponsorships, about marketing, drop it in the comments. Let me know. And even if you have some questions later on, just let me know, and I'll do a separate video on it, because I've been going live every day, but I do need to do some more separate videos. And I want to shout out to Z, because Z does a lot of my videos for me. When I do a lot of high editing videos, that is Z. Z does all my videos. So I want to say thank you and special shout out to him. So I'm about to jump off of here and get ready for bed. It is almost midnight on my side. It's 11:30. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, in America, and it's getting late. So I'm going to get off of here. But I thank you all for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye.